This time I kind of have an unknown. Normally I know what I do. This time I kind of don't. I replaced my perfectly set up OEM suspension with a huge Conwell fork. I had no problem with my WP forks. I loved it. I changed the oil out of it. I put a low friction oil in there, so I was kind of lucky because I did my search on the type of oil that I want to put in the fork, but I didn't know it's going to change it that much, but it did. You may ask why changing something that's already good, and really just want to try it out, and I had this good opportunity. These forks normally cost like $3,000, a little bit more, and it's really hard to get. Lately not that hard. Back in the days it was a privilege of the pro racers. Now you can get it too. It just works its way into the system, how good they are. And I'm ending up getting it for $1,500 from him. He tried not to sell it for me that cheap, but I give everything what I got, and that's what we came up with. So it was a good deal on my end. And I ended up taking it to Factory Connection. I didn't know anything about those guys. I went there, I told them I want to have this fork done. These are like a 1-year-old fork, but I was just trying to customize it so it looks better. That was my main goal. And I never rode this fork before, I took it to them straight. So I asked them I want to coat the shell, I'm going to coat the housing, take it apart for me, then put it together, and I'm going to tell you how I want it. And they told me around $450, it will cost $450, which is extremely good deal. They have all the replacement parts in stock. If you need something like, whatever weight springs you need, they just have it on the shop, and there is 2-3 guys constantly working on these forks full time, so they are very experienced. They really know what they are doing. So my experience was extremely good. And the second thing I want to talk about as far as installation, I have that X-Rig triple clamp on my bike, and this is known to be quite rigid, and the benefit for this is really for the pro racers. I have it so I can have the 720 S50 mounted on it, so I bought that for that purpose, to make sure the clamp fits on the X-Rig. And when I try to say these clamps are set up for 17 Nm on the lower one, I recommend to go like 16.5, like go underneath a little bit. So that's that. And the second thing is, for this installing, I recommend you to smash the wheel side to side, because if you're not putting the wheels in there properly, the fork gonna get weared out quite quick. You have already bad front suspension experience, but the point is you have to line everything up perfectly so everything moves freely and nothing get like an additional friction. The last one, before I go to ride, I cannot recommend you high enough to set up your suspension properly, because it makes a world of difference. And like I said, they told me $450 for this service, this kind of service, which is huge. So I'm pretty sure most of you can afford $450 to have the best suspension what you ever experienced, because that's how much the difference is. Me personally, adjusting my suspension almost every time I'm out on the track, because if I ride in a different conditions, mean by my track get wear down more, then the roots are sticking up more, then I'm gonna soften my suspension up so the initial impression is kind of soft. If I have a really smooth track, which is my other track is, I'm gonna I go on a fast track, I set it up to be really, really hard, because obviously I go fast, so I can kind of have the same experience. The point is, I always messing with the suspension, I always adjusting the suspension, and to have an excellent base to working with, it's really, really, really important.
I'm quite excited about this. Normally I don't really get excited about parts, but this is something truly important for me, because I don't want to crash, and the way I ride the bike, kind of on the edge sometimes, not always, but if I do that, then this suspension can save my ass as we go. I'm probably gonna go and do some jumping really quick with it. So far the way I asked the gentleman to set up the suspension for me to have it soft. Oh my god! I do this every day, or every time more precise, when I come out over here. And I kind of have experienced how all of my bikes going through that log. But I asked the guys have a really soft initial impression, so very soft, then really hard. You can take the bumps, you know, in a faster speed, like the hoops. But the way I went through that log is something I never experienced before. I know now how those guys attacking, you know, the enduro pros, how they are attacking the track in a high speed, and all they do is just run through the log. They don't even lift up the front. They just, you know, drive the bike to it. They may lift it up a little bit, but things are happening so fast for them, they don't have a time to lift it up. A lot of times, you know, they just run through it. Like I did it now. I didn't lift it up, and it just goes through the logs like nothing. It's amazing. Oh my god. I can emphasize it enough. Now the rear needs to be in line with the front, which it isn't as of now. Wow. It just flows through everything. Super nice. The best feeling I ever had. It makes me a better rider. Really, that's what it is. The whoops are coming up. That's what I'm most interested about. Wow. I go way faster than I normally would. It just let me to go super fast compared to what I normally do, and I still feel safe. It gives me that confidence. That's amazing. You know, I'm not young, but things can surprise me as well, even if I always buying these new bikes. But this experience is something that I never had before, and I truly mean that. I rode a lot of other people's bikes, but none of us was like that. Whatever I put the front, it just stays there. And I'm riding on the sand. That's crazy. So much stable than it was before. Yeah, I'm riding on the sand. That's why it's kind of slippery. Wow. What an experience. Now I can go up and do enduro riding up in the hills with no problem at all. God damn it. It's like nothing. So smooth. So smooth. Wow. You know what the problem is now? I have a few other bikes. Now I want to have those bikes feel the same way. Wow. Ridiculous, ridiculous.
truly recommend you to try it out. You're gonna have a life experience. If you're into enduro, especially if you're riding on those nasty rocks, this is something that you must do. I mean, the difference between these forks and the regular forks, it's amazing. The problem is, again, I don't know how much has to do with the company who built it and how much has to do with the fork itself. I'm pretty sure equally a lot. Alright guys, I'll catch you guys on the next one. I gotta go back riding because I want more.